Since 1992, Genesis House has been helping real people heal from addiction on their private recovery campus in beautiful Palm Beach County, Florida. Their family-owned program is accredited by the Joint Commission and offers detox and dual diagnosis treatment in a comfortable and confidential setting. At Genesis House, they focus on treating the underlying causes of addiction. Their comprehensive approach includes psychiatric care, individual and small group therapy, trauma healing techniques, and holistic care including yoga, massage, and animal-assisted therapy. After treatment, their clients enjoy the lifelong support of a nationwide network of Genesis House alumni. Call Genesis House today at 1-800-737-0933 to speak with someone who understands. Visit them on the web at www.genesishouse.net. It's time to start your journey to a long and successful recovery.
Friends in Recovery, the Addiction Recovery Podcast, is brought to you by the Friends in Recovery community, a thriving network of individuals who are fighting back against the stigma of addiction. Join our hosts as they speak up about the real issues of addiction, treatment, and recovery. Friends in Recovery, the Addiction Recovery Podcast, is available on Facebook, Podbean, iTunes, and YouTube 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Now, here are your Friends in Recovery.
Welcome, everybody, to the Friends in Recovery podcast. I'm your host, Jersey Ed, along with my co-hosts, Noontime with Sky and Tiff. How you doing today, ladies?
Awesome.
Well, ladies, notice
it's cold here.
Ladies. Cold. Where are
Yeah.
you, Minnesota or some shit?
I'm in Minnesota.
It's like 65 here today. It's beautiful.
I know.
That's
I went
so
running.
crazy. Yesterday it was really warm here though. It was like 30 degrees, and so I sent the kids played outside like all bundled up for like an hour and a half.
God.
Fresh air.
Yes, they got some fresh air.
I went running in shorts this morning. I was like, I'm so cool. Anyways, first of all, I'd like to thank Genesis House for their ongoing support of this podcast. Without them, of course, guys, we would not have this wonderful, wonderful podcast. I want to also thank the listeners and the viewers, because our viewership and our downloads have been going up. So we're doing something right, I think, or maybe they just feel sorry for us. I don't know, but whatever it is, just keep doing it, guys. Different countries are listening to us. I don't know. We're doing good. So keep it up.
Spread the word. Spread the word.
Spread it out, guys. Spread the word. The other thing about Genesis House, guys, of course, we couldn't do this without them. But if you're struggling or something's going on, please feel free. Just like the commercial before this said, give them a call. It doesn't hurt just to talk to somebody. And our phone numbers are here or are available too below. You can, give us a call if you need anything. Well, Tiffany or not Tiff or Sky, but me. You can give us a call.
No, call me.
Yeah,
Call me.
Exactly.
Say my name. Say my name.
Say my name. Say my name. Change your name. Change your name. Anyways, that's my singing debut on Friends in Recovery. So, but today, guys,
Turns out Ed's a huge Beyonce fan.
Yes, that's right. But the Queen Bee, right? Isn't that what they call her, Queen Bee?
No, that's what they call me, Ed.
Oh,
That's what
that's
they
not
call
her?
me.
Oh, all right.
That's me. The
Who's
Bee.
Queen Bee? Beyonce, isn't it?
I don't know, but I'm the
comment
queen
below,
on Beyonce.
guys. Obviously, you can tell we're not that up on Beyonce stuff. So if you want to know anything about Twisted Sister, I'd be more than happy to answer anything about Twisted Sister.
Oh my gosh.
Anyways, this week's show is about tradition too, as you probably would have not even guessed in that little segue that we had there. But tradition too, we're going to talk about. So I want you guys to stay tuned for some amazing recovery talk here in a minute. But I do want to give you the literature rundown that we have today. Me, Jersey Ed, I'll be using the 12 and 12 and also the 12 Traditions Illustrated. Tiffany's going to also use the 12 and 12 and the 12 Traditions Illustrated, along with the Grapevine. And Skylar comes from the NA part of things, and she will be using IP number 2, the group, basic text, and the what is it? The how and why. Can't even read my own handwriting. So the how and why. So so while we're babbling on about a couple things here, go grab your books, and we'll get things started. I do want to we have a couple of sober shout outs, guys. They're kind of not real, but they are real because nobody sent me a sober shout out. So I'm going to make these a sober shout outs anyways. I have to fill some time here anyway. So, but there's a guy, and I don't know his name. I only know him by Dayton Strong Recovery 101. He always comments, and thank you, Dayton Strong, for commenting. It's great to see that somebody's really listening. I'm sorry, I'm like drooling here. It's that we have a listener. I'm drooling. We have a listener.
He control
but
himself.
but yeah, Dayton Strong, he always comments, and he says he starts his day with our podcast when it first comes out, the whole 9 yards. So thank you so much. I'm going to actually enter him into the drawing for the t-shirt, and I will get that in a minute. And then
Ooh.
No, Jersey Ed, I do want to tell you there is a sober. Well, it's not really a sober shout out either, but I've heard people. Have been receiving texts from people saying, "Hey, I'm listening to your show on the way to work."
cool.
And Shay, one of our friends in recovery, meeting people, part of the fellowship, she's like, "Yeah, I find when I'm listening to the podcast in the morning, it just takes me out of my head, relieves my
Wow.
anxiety before I get to work."
wow.
And so thank you, Shay, for being one of our listeners. And there's a
Yes.
sober shout out for you.
Thanks, Shay. And also, guys, so my cousin listens, who I haven't seen in years. Like, we all grew up together. They lived in another state. They always came to my grandmother's house for like a month, and we all hung out. We were all kind of the same age. I might have been a little bit older, but whatever. And my cousin listens. Like, out of the blue, I get this thing on Facebook saying, "Hey, I love your podcast." I'm like, "Oh shit!" I'm like, a family member listens. I'm like, I better clean this up. So no cursing from this day on, guys. This has to be a rated G show from now on because Jordan's listening. No, I'm just kidding. But Jordan, I want to say hello. I love you. I miss you. You know, I'm glad you listen. And if there's I'm going to enter her into the sober shout out, what you call it too. So anyways, so get your sober shout outs for sent in to us. We are giving away 2 Genesis House t-shirts, guys. The supporters of us, here it is, and it's the front here. Only 2 things that you got to do. You got to send us a sober shout out at help@friendsinrecoverypodcast.com, and you got to fit into a large shirt. That's it. So you can either use it as a night shirt or a scuba shirt if you're smaller or larger. So you decide if you want to really go there. But anyway,
Scuba Steve.
That's right. That's right.
Oh my gosh.
And if there's anything else that you guys want to send us, you know, as far as topics or be a guest on the show, because from time to time we will have guests on talking about the steps or the traditions. Please feel free to you know, kind of email us at help@friendsinrecoverypodcast.com. Tiff, you want to talk about our meetings?
Sure, I can talk about our meetings. All right, guys. I'm Tiff. I am a friend in recovery. And of course, I'm also a drug addict and an alcoholic. I would like to let you know that the last Saturday of the month is our celebration meeting on Friends in Recovery. So please comment below with your sober date. If it's along with your days, months, or years, whatever you're celebrating, and join us on our last Saturday of the month meeting, and you will be a part of our celebration. In addition to our twice daily meetings, which you can always find on genesishouse.net under connections, we also have our loved ones group on Monday nights at 8:00, the alumni and friends on Tuesday nights, rock on, our meditation meeting, Beyond the Badge, which we'll talk about on another meeting, Recovery 911. And also we have recovery yoga, adventure planning, and more. And please don't forget about the Big Book Study, which is held on Sunday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, hosted by yours truly.
All
right.
Thanks,
We
Tiff.
also have the coin challenge.
yeah,
in
the
all
coin challenge.
seriousness.
Yeah.
Any 30 Friends in Recovery meetings that you attend, you will earn the highly sought after Friends in Recovery Zooming Through Recovery coin. I know recently Bonnie, one of our listeners, or one of our fellowship members, has received her coin. My
Yay,
husband,
Bonnie.
Chris,
Yes.
has received his coin.
Yeah.
And I
Johnny
know
F.
Johnny F. Yep.
Johnny
yeah,
F.
Bonnie F. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then here we go. Here's the highly sought after coin, no longer found in a condom wrapper. Anyway, there it is. Bill and Bob, masks on, highly sought after coin. Very heavy, very, very, very special.
I got to
So-
tell you something real quick about that coin challenge. I can see these guys like, hey, I have, you know, 32 or 22 days. They're all counting like you only got a couple if I do this. And I hear them talking about it before the meeting that you want this coin. That is a really cool coin. I have one I carry around all the time. And it's heavy. When I went to the doctor the other day, I had to take it out of my pocket because it added like 4 pounds onto me, because they make you take your shoes, keep your shoes on and all that shit. I'm just kidding, but it's a nice heavy coin. But it's cool because they're all counting their days and I don't care if you come in and you have 5 years, 10 years, you still can count those days when you get your coin, so it's
just
cool.
the number of meetings.
Yeah.
So attend any 30 meetings. It doesn't matter what meetings. And right now we're almost up to 3 meetings a day. If you include our specialty meetings. So come to Friends in Recovery, find us and find us. We're going to be on the AA Intergroup website for a 7:00 meeting. So check us out on AA Intergroup. Friends in Recovery, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then also we have our 12 noons and then all of our 8:00 meetings. So join us, guys. Get your coin.
That's it. Come
Back
on.
to you, Ed.
Thank you, Tiff. Now I got Sky going to talk about some of her stuff there, some of the social media stuff that we do.
Yes. So
I think is that what you talk about? I think Skylar's always the cleanup batter. Sky, we were talking how stealthy she is, how she comes in and she's like the smart one of the whole bunch. Me and Tiff just blab along, and Skylar just like sums up everything that Tiff and I talked about for 45 minutes in like 2 minutes.
She's actually
it makes more sense.
I just take both your ideas and make my own.
Exactly. Really over to you, Stealth Sky.
That's all I do. So make sure you guys like us on social media. On Facebook, you want to like the Genesis House page, and then there's groups on the page. There is a Friends in Recovery community group. There was a alumni only group, and there's also a Friends in Recovery Adventures group. You want to like all 3. There's updates in there, different contests, different engagement, all types of things get involved in. We also have something, if you're not on social media, maybe you don't have a Facebook, download the app called Telegram, not Telegraph, Telegram.
Telegraph. And me and Abe Lincoln, Alexander Graham Bell, me and Al are on that.
So you want to download that, and that's
Telegram, guys. Telegram. That's it.
Telegram. Yes, Telegram. So and that's like we send out texts throughout the day. Like most of us have each other's numbers, but it's just an app that we all kind of communicate on too. So
I like that we can go back and look at like the past comments. It's just like Messenger.
Yeah.
It's just like Messenger, except for it's called Telegram, and it's for all of us in recovery. And I like that.
And if you're having a hard time getting on it, just send us an email or comment below. I don't know, there's just like, just if you're having a hard time getting on it, just let us know and we'll get you on. So Sky, thank you so much for bringing up the end as the caboose, but you're the most important part of the train here. That was dumb. Carl, cut that out. All right.
Can you please cut that out, Carl?
Please, So guys, here's a little part of the show that I really like because it's going to get us to know each other. It's going to get us to know the group. The audience is going to get to know us. I just ask random questions every week. I think last week was our superhero. The week before was, I don't know, our color. Whatever it was. Go listen to the shows. Comment below. Tell us what the 2 shows before this, what were what the question of the week was. But the question of the week this week is, what 2 radio stations do you listen to in the car mostly and why? And Tiff, I'm going to start with you. The 2 radio stations you listen in the car and why?
Okay. So a while back in recovery, I decided to change everything that I was putting into my body. And that included, not just what I was eating or drinking, it also or drugs. I wasn't doing that anymore. Anyway, I started changing what I was watching, what I was listening to, what I was reading, all things that I was putting into my body, who I was hanging out with, people, places, things, whatever. And so the station that I listen to in the car is actually our local station is KTIS 98.5. It's an HD station, and it's the second on the dial if you're listening in Minnesota. And they have just like, it's a family talk radio. It's a religious station. They talk about They have a recovery show, like a whole recovery hour where they have
Wow.
Minnesota Teen Challenge come on,
Nice.
and
Oh,
they
wow.
have lots of like speakers. And so it's recovery based, it's Christian based, it's mostly Christian based. And I just listened to that because that's how I wanted to engage more with my higher power.
Mm.
And when I have satellite radio, I listen to the Catholic channel and sometimes Joel Osteen. Osteen, whatever. But usually it's the Catholic station. If I want to get some more religious, sounds, and it's not sounds, it's not singing, it's all, messages that are, higher power based. And I like that. So
How do you
anyway,
not
that's
cry
what I
when you
listen to.
it though. Every
What?
time I listen, Christian music makes me cry because I can just
Yeah.
feel it in my soul.
Yeah.
Seriously. So
And I like that they've changed it. Like, it's not like they've really changed really Christian based music where it's
So
more,
much
they have
hipper,
rock,
it's-
they have
yeah.
rap, they have all sorts of things.
oh, yeah.
And so they've changed all this. And on that KTIS station, they have three stations on the HD part. They have KTIS 1, KTIS 2, KTIS 3, and it has either traditional religious music on the first station. The second station is all Christian talk or recovery talk.
Wow.
And the
Nice.
third station is all like more progressive music that is up to today's standards.
Oh,
And
wow.
so I have all three
Beyonce,
stations.
for
yeah,
example.
Beyonce. There is no Beyonce. Anyway, there is the Queen Bee, which is
That's right.
Tiffany. No, I'm just
That's right.
kidding.
There you
It,
go.
it rhymes. But that's what I listen to. I've changed kind of everything that I put into my body, including what I listen
Yes.
to in the car.
Amen. Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. Welcome back to KTSI 98.5 on your radio
KTIS
dial.
98.5.
Free plugs for them. Thanks,
Yeah.
Tiff.
Okay, so-
Great. That's great that's wonderful that we when we get into recovery, we do change. We have to change almost everything, even including the reason why I ask these questions is because what have we changed? Maybe, what's different in our lives. So everybody can kind of see this is the reason why you listen to this now. That's great. How about you, Scott? What do you listen to when you're in the car?
So it totally depends on my mood. And I say that because sometimes I need to be on autopilot. So I listen to like 103.9, which is the 1060 news radio station, and it keeps me up on current events. And then like it's just like mindless stuff going on in the background,
Mhm.
like white
Yeah.
noise really, because if I'm in my head or sometimes I just don't want to have to hear like music. So I don't know why I like listening to talk radio. Even if it's 610, like the sports one, just I don't know, like sometimes the talking. But when I have satellite, there's this station called the Coffee House.
Oh,
Yeah.
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 It's so good, right?
Yeah.
So chill and vibey, and
Yeah.
the lyrics are always real deep. I'm big on lyrics.
Yeah.
That's why it matters like what mood I'm in, because depending on what mood I'm in is the lyrics I need to hear. You know what I mean?
Right.
So Coffee
That's
House can
true.
really snap you out of
Coffee
it
House.
and just kind of
Well, you are in the coffee house now. So did you listen to it on the way over to the coffee
I
house?
found it here. They introduced me here. The recording in the back.
Ah.
Yeah, the coffee. They have the radio show next to us while we're doing our
Right.
little 3-person show. So thanks, guys.
Oh my
And
God.
guys, my two favorite stations are all satellite. That's all I listen to. So I'm going to tell you a quick story. I used to listen to the 100 and 101 on satellite. You guys can probably figure out who that would be. I'm not going to mention any names. Hilarious, funny, great, just great stuff. It kills time, just knowing the characters, and raunchy and all kinds of good stuff on those radio stations. And as I'm brushing my teeth with the Quip toothbrush, or if I have my whatever shirts, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm getting nothing out of this, because all the shit that's said on this radio station, I really can't talk to anybody about it, because I can't talk about penises and breasts and all that, like in my day-to-day stuff, and even raunchier as it goes on and on and on. And again, great entertainment. Don't get me wrong. He's a great entertainer, but the only thing that I got out of that was I was buying their products they were selling on there. And I like the products. I really do. But I'm thinking to myself, like Tiff said, well, I have to be careful what I'm putting in my body, and not just food wise,
Yeah.
what's going in my ears, what's going in my head. And when I'm driving, and I drive a lot for my job during the day, I was getting nothing out of it. So I found this 128, Joel Osteen. The message there is unbelievable. He just has an amazing message. And I know some people are like, oh, he's all about the money. He's all about this. No, he's all about getting the message out. If he makes $1 million doing it, God bless him. You know, I hope I make $1 million doing this show one day. But I get so much more out of Joel Osteen. It's just unbelievable. And I can bring that stuff into my life. I can talk to people about it. I can, you know, kind of, you know, live my life around it. You know, I'm not going to live my life around the stuff that was on those other channels, you know?
Well, and he puts it in a humanistic manner, like a today's living,
Yep.
and it's always positive. It
Yes.
always has
Always
some sort
positive,
of positive spin
Yeah. And then
in real life situations.
absolutely.
I'm bigger fan of Stephen Furtick, but both of them, like
Yeah.
Stephen Furtick just has a different way he says it. But you know, all those guys, I love like all
I
those
agree.
podcasts, motivational. You're right. It gives you stuff to talk about in the world.
Yeah.
Gives you things to think about. It gives tons of like food for thought.
Yeah, exactly. And then my
turn 2 stations to the left, and then you'll get to the Family Talk Radio.
Yeah, exactly. My second channel, guys, is the Beatles. I grew up on the Beatles. I breathe. I got a tattoo of Imagine on my back, where, you know, the Imagine in Central Park. I got that tattooed on my back.
Oh my God.
I'm just a huge Beatle fan. And I always said for years, this stupid freaking serious stuff should have a Beatles station. I said they should play some, you know, the artists that used to, that maybe the Beatles found, maybe some re-recordings of the Beatles stuff, a lot of Beatles music. And for years I said, and then finally it came true. And I'm glued to both of those channels. And when I'm not singing Love Me Do or Twist and Shout, I'm listening to Joel Osteen talk about becoming a victor, not a victim. So that's my two things. So anyway,
that's awesome. I love it.
I know. So that's our question of the week, guys. Answer those if you want. Comment below. What 2 radio stations do you listen to in the car, and mostly, and why? You can leave the NY out, or send us an email at help@friendsofrecoverypodcast.com on what 2 stations do you listen to in the car mostly, and why. So
that's a very interesting question, Ed. I'm very impressed.
Thank you. There'll be more to come. So stay tuned, guys. So now tradition 2 we're going to talk about. So just to let everybody know, this part of the book of my 12 and 12 was never opened. So I had to oil it, and I had to use a crowbar to fucking open it and get to it. And I had to blow the dust off of it. And here I am. I'm ready to go. I'm just being honest, guys. I never really got into the traditions. I never got into them. But here is the crazy thing, guys. I shouldn't say constantly. I was on my run this morning. I'm like, Skylar, send me some tradition 2 stuff. I'm running. I can't see without my glasses, and blah, 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 and all kinds of stuff. And I'm really studying this stuff now. And I know every time I call Skylar or Tiff, and this is not easy. I'm telling you, what we're doing for the rest of the year is a commitment to our recovery. And it's a commitment to you guys, to the listeners out there. We want to bring you the best information that we can. Of course, this is only our opinions. This is only what we bring to the table from what we learn in our recovery. If it's long, short, whatever it is, this is what we're bringing to the table. But it's just want to let you guys know, this is coming from a loving, caring place that we're doing all this. I'm telling you, and very heart-filled, and very kind of really thought out, and kind of really thinking about what we're going to tell you guys, because we want your recovery to be just as good as ours, if not better. That's why we do this show, you know. And so tradition 2, again, I've just been learning it all, but is for our group purpose, there is but one ultimate authority, a loving God, as he may express himself in our group conscious. Our leaders are but trusted servants. They do not govern. That's a lot. I know. That's a lot. It's
actually, that is the short form of tradition 2 in the back of the book, which is actually longer than the long version of tradition 2 in the back of the book. So
it is. The long version is shorter. I'll read that too. Let me pull that out. If you guys want me to read it, I can read it. Where is it?
That's fine. You don't need to read that. I think that we should just go right into the 12 tradition illustrated.
Yes, read the 12
and talk about it.
Or we can end the show right now and just say, okay, we read it and we're done.
All right.
Hey guys, hey,
God
thanks
has
for
Jumping
led
listening.
us in
He's
this
jumping ship.
direction. Yeah, God has led us in this direction, and now we are closing the show.
That's
All right.
okay. No, we're not. We're not closing the show, really. So,
All
go ahead,
right,
Tiff.
so I'll read the 12 tradition 12 tradition illustrated tradition 2, and then I think we should just get into some discussion.
I agree.
Because this is an awesome tradition. It's one of the
Yeah.
what I would say is it's one of the traditions. It's totally aligned up with step 2. Step 2, yep, and tradition 2 are all about, you know, unity and a loving God that is to be aligned with for our group purpose in
Yep.
tradition 2. So it says AA is both a democracy and, in Bill W.'s words, a benign anarchy. A group elects its own officers who have no power to order anybody to do anything. In most groups, most of the slate rotates out of the office, and at the end of 6 months, and new officers are elected. If a group wants to be a part of the whole AA service structure, it elects a GSR, which is a General Service Representative, with a 2-year term. GSRs elect area committee members and then join them in electing a delegate from their area to the annual General Service Conference. The conference is about the closest approximation of a government that AA has. It produces opinions on important matters of policy. It approves the choice of some of trustees' nominees for the General Service Board and directly elects others. But neither the conference nor the board can give orders to any group or member. Then who's in charge around here? Okay, that's what it says. AA is a spiritual movement, and so the ultimate authority is the spiritual concept of the group conscience. Its voice is heard when a well-informed group gathers to arrive at a decision. The result rests on more than arithmetic, a simple yes or a no count. Minority ideas get thoughtful attention. What about the annoying character who's always sure that she's right? Well, that's me. Just kidding. If she's wrong, then she will, if she remembers the first tradition as well as the second, go along with the decision of the group conscience. Does this notion seem too cloudy? Let's think back to our first meetings when we were newcomers, right? The presence of newcomers felt in those rooms was the same as the group conscience, and it was real, welcoming us in, setting up no barriers of rules. So that's the description from for tradition 2 in the 12 tradition illustrated.
I think that's such a great kind of summary of tradition 2. I mean, it's
Mhm.
everything's in there. You know, from how everybody's elected to the voice, and you know, there's yes or no, and I love this. They put in here if she's wrong, right?
Yes.
You know, like if she's wrong, you know, the annoying character, and they call it a she. Like what you know, I don't like why is she? I'm like, oh well, good. You put it in there, and it's not me anyway. So, but
Well, I think it's because they usually say he. It's very interesting. But you know, the 12 traditions focus on our recovery as a group, right?
Mhm.
It's our recovery as a group. And tradition 2 and step 2 are firmly in sync. And both the second step and the second tradition focus largely on nurturing our spirituality as a part of a group rather than on our own, and navigating potential turbulence, you know, within our home group. It navigates all of that. So
Yeah.
that's what tradition 2 does.
yeah, well,
Go
I
ahead.
like what it says in the first paragraph. Society has no president. Our society has no president having authority to govern it. No treasurer who can compel the payment of any dues. No board of directors who can cast an earning member into outer darkness. Then it goes down and say this can't be simple. There must be an angle somewhere, right? There's not.
Right.
Think about this, guys. This organization's been running since 1935,
Mhm.
and it's been running pretty efficiently. It's been keeping people sober. It's been doing what it's been doing. Why can't the government take fucking?
I was just gonna say
right?
the angle here,
I
like
know.
Right?
There's no angle. There really is
Drives
no
this shit.
angle because nobody's getting paid. Nobody's making big money. Nobody's sitting there getting their tenure. Nobody's fucking getting, a pension. We're helping one another, and that's all we're doing in here. And that's exactly what this
Right.
says. There's no angle behind it. There's nothing that is being hung over anybody's head. And I think Intergroup in New York, I think there's 3 or 4 paid different positions just to
Yeah,
keep
it's not
things
very many.
going, and that's it. It might be more now because of the internet and everything that's going on, but it
Right.
is a very bare minimal to keep this company going. And it's successful after how many years? 80 years, right? We're at 80 years now, whatever it is. And
Yeah.
we just keep it simple, so but again, there's no board members. There's GSR, the general service representatives, 2-year term, then you're out, you move in, you move out. It's
Yeah.
not people aren't in here long enough to dictate things. It's not a dictatorship, you know what I mean? And if it is,
Right.
you take your ball and you take your coffee pot and go start another meeting somewhere,
Right.
That's what's great about it. Then you take the traditions with you and you start the way you want to start them. You know what I mean? The group. And that a lot of groups have done that. A lot of groups have done that, saying, well, I don't like what's going on here, so let's take our coffee pot and go start somewhere else.
Yeah.
A lot
Right.
of groups good,
You know,
good things
and
come out of it.
when we go into when we talk about the 12 steps and 12 traditions, it elaborates on the presence of a faith. It's this first story kind of in the group, the first chapter, right? The presence of a faith in the group, while also addressing the notion that AA leaders do not govern. Okay. So it talks about that. Then much of the chapter relating tradition 2 consists of like this hypothetical situation in which group leaders attempt to impose their will on a group.
Mhm.
And in doing so, they exhibit many character defects. Well, let's just be real here, right? We're a bunch of character defects coming into a group now with all of our character defects.
Yeah.
And trying to, put things together. Okay. But these group leaders attempt to impose their will on the group. And in doing so, they exhibit their character defects, such as self-centeredness and stubbornness,
Mhm.
right? And the book also, it kind of talks about, like you said, that they try to lead in more of a dictatorship than a democracy.
Mhm.
And then eventually they get replaced after
Yep.
an election is called,
Yep.
right? In the group conscience meeting. And then after a time, the new leaders do their duties without any delusions of power, and it's at that point the story ends. And then the story, it says in the 12 and 12, it says the committee gives no spiritual advice, judges no one's conduct, issues no orders. Every one of them may be promptly eliminated at the next election if they try this, right? And so they make the belated discovery that they are really servants, not senators. So exactly
Mhm.
what you said. Why can't our senators take this, right?
Yeah.
Right.
These are universal experiences. Thus, throughout AA, the group conscience decree and the group conscience decree the terms upon which its leaders shall serve. So it's important to note that the lack of traditional government does not deprive AA of all the leadership. It's in fact that the 12 tradition notes that, even those who have been removed from their positions may still act as leaders within the group, right?
Mhm.
They're still part of the group. And the new leadership they decide to invoke, there essentially are 2 types of leaders in the group, is what the book says in that first chapter, and then they start talking about, I'm sure you read it. The chapter on the second tradition refers to 2 types of leaders. They have that
Mhm.
elder statesman that they refer to.
Yep. And the
And
bleeding
then they have the
deacons.
bleeding deacons
Yeah.
or whatever. And the elder statesman is the one who sees the wisdom of the group's decision. And the bleeding deacon is the one who is convinced that the group just absolutely can't
Oh
get
my
on
gosh,
without
yeah,
him, right?
yeah.
And constantly is trying to connive re-election in office. And anyway, what the book says in the 12 traditions is that second one that we're talking about, the bleeding deacon, that is very self-centered, thinks that the group can't get on without him. Eventually they go on to drink.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
And that's what,
Yeah.
and that's, unfortunately that may happen, but we take everybody's, even the minorities, perspective into
Mhm.
consideration.
Mhm.
There's a whole
Unanimous decision.
process that they follow, and
Mhm.
we listen to everybody. And ultimately, it's the group conscience that comes together, and the decisions are made as a whole.
Mhm.
And they're speaking that the higher power or God comes through the group conscience.
Yeah, yeah. And I like here a tip where it says, the servants, not senators. You brought that up,
Yeah.
and that's the elder statesmen versus the bleeding deacons. You know, and again, servants. Where it says right at the beginning, right in tradition 2, our leaders are but trusted servants. They don't govern. Our leaders are trusted servants. I mean, that's like an oxymoron if you think about it. Like, how can a leader be a servant, right? But if you think about it, any good leader is a servant. Any good leader that leads is, first of all, not afraid to get their hands dirty, been there, done that type of job, and is giving the information where they've been, where they were at, to direct the new people coming through. And that's what think about it. That's what my sponsor
Exactly.
does to me. My sponsor is a leader to me, but he's also a servant to AA.
Right.
Hey, yep.
Because every time I go to him, I ask him advice or this, that, the other thing. He did not come up with this advice. He did not make this shit up. He got it from where? His sponsor, right?
Right.
And where did his sponsor, and so on and so forth. So yes, we are leaders. And when we're running a meeting, and when we start a meeting, we have to have the leaders, but we also have to understand that we are not the as it says, the bleeding deacons, because it could all go fucking wrong. As long as you become you're that elder statesman, and again, servants, not senators, it all stays in perspective. The minute you think that you're a senator or that bleeding deacon, forget it. It just all goes wrong, because that's
Well, usually the group dies.
Exactly. That's exactly
The
what
group
happens.
usually dies.
Because neither one is who you really want to lead by.
No,
Yeah.
no.
Because like honestly, it's like we choose the source of unity is the final say, right? But the mechanism we use is the group conscience, right? The success of the group conscience process depends on willingness of individuals to seek guidance from a higher power on a personal level, right? And then it's also a commitment, our commitment is a reflection and service that builds on common welfare. So like when we're there, it's like supporting meetings, sharing with others, sponsorship. That's how we're showing our commitment to this program and giving back in a way, showing up for our unity, showing up for our, like that we believe in this common welfare. So sometimes we have to evaluate where we're at in our service. Like what do we do? How are we giving back? Like that's a good way to think about it too. Because our commitment to the group, you know what I mean? Are we giving out phone number lists? Are we, making it available for pamphlets to get, for newcomers to get, like just little things.
The newcomer.
Yeah. That's the most
It's all
important
about
thing
the
in room.
newcomer.
Principle that we don't ever consider, because
Right.
Those links that Stacy makes, that's not anonymity, how she's helping our community grow. And like, we don't even see it. Like, and anonymity goes a long way in spiritual principles. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
It's all stuff getting done. We don't even see sometimes.
Well, and Scott, you bring up
that's sorry.
No,
It's about-
Skylar,
it's-
real quick, I just want to make a point. Skylar brings up a good point, because we can't all start at the top. We all can't just do the leadership. We can't just start the group. Can you start the group? Yeah, absolutely. But you know what? This is years
I had
ago.
no idea what the fuck I was doing now.
Ashtrays or the door greeter. I mean, you can start that meeting and you can get it all going. But you know what? Go make a pot of coffee. Go stand at the door and welcome people. Pick up the cigarette butts that people throw in the parking lot. That's if you're on, if you're in a real meeting. But that is, you just can't be that bleeding deacon that wants to take all the credit. Yeah, this is my meeting. Look what I did. This is
right. And that bleeding deacon needs to also pick up cigarette butts in the parking lot.
Exactly.
Because we're trusted servants, right? We're all equal positions, right? Nobody is on top. And it's about don't impose your will on things, right? My personal will, like Sky was just talking about what Stacy was doing. We're not imposing our will on things. We're letting go and see how the group runs best, right? Putting the things all together, and everybody picks up cigarette butts in the parking lot, whether you're in a leadership position or not, because we're trusted servants, right? We do not govern. So that means we're all equal. But can you start somewhere as a newcomer? Absolutely. You can do that. Actually, as a newcomer, I would like to hear your opinion most on how the group should run, so that we can be evolving and grow. And what do you need from us? You know,
Mhm.
what do you need to hear from us? What is best as the newcomer comes in?
Also, what does that tell the newcomer if we sit there and point the finger and say this and say that? Is that something that somebody wants to come into, like a newcomer? Like, that's what they might have been in a bad relationship before. They might have been in, like something that wasn't healthy. And now you're coming into this thing where this bleeding deacon is kind of telling you who, what, when, where, and why at a meeting.
Right.
Now you're going to go to your sponsor and you're going to ask him or her for advice. And then you remember, hey, this guy wanted me to pick up cigarette butts, but he's sitting up there in his Armani suit, not fucking bending over. That's bullshit, So
Right.
how are you going to take direction from somebody else if you're not? I don't care if you're in an Armani suit or a pair of fucking sweatpants. Get down there, pick the cigarette butts up, make the fucking coffee, bring the donuts in, whatever it is. Service, service, service. That's so important. And
Yeah,
that's what this is about.
demonstrating those core principles of sobriety.
Exactly.
The group is
absolutely.
exactly how it's how we run, how we show the world what NA and AA are doing.
Yeah.
The group is the most powerful vehicle of the whole thing, really, if you think about it.
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
need each other to keep growing. Like,
Mhm.
think about even group conscience. My home group conscience has evolved as we evolved, as the
Mhm.
members evolved.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but it's just how we carry the hope and the message to the
Yeah.
addicts.
Yeah. Well, think of
And
those
deliver
very
it with humility.
Exactly.
Deliver it with
Yes.
humility.
Yeah.
I'm setting aside my spiritual ego, right?
Mm.
Right? Because this principle there is a big elephant in the room on this principle. And it's about the elephant in the room is about here. I'll tell you what it is. Alcoholics Anonymous does have religious roots. We do. Okay.
Mhm.
And this principle specifically talks about God. Okay. This
Yes.
tradition does talk about God. It is we do have religious roots as a Christian organization, and it was greatly influenced in this original literature, especially the big book. Okay.
Mhm.
But the organization has come to realize, actually, from the second tradition, is not necessarily meant to imply that everyone within AA or NA group should be followed by the same God. We've evolved in sort of a group
Mhm.
conscience thing, that we don't all have to be following the same God, and it's just the concept of one ultimate authority.
That's why each group could be different. That's
Yeah.
why
Yeah.
we
It's-
pick different groups to be a part of a home group.
Yep.
Exactly.
And that
exactly.
concept of one ultimate authority indicates that there is to be an element of fate or destiny, right? In your perception of that power that governs your primary sober support network. So that ultimate authority is just one. It does have an element of fate. It does have an element of destiny, because it's how the group runs itself and how the group runs best, because nobody's going to come back to your group, right, from like some GSO or GSR service position and say, nope, you all have to run like this in every single group. No, that's not what it is. Our group, let's use Friends in Recovery as an example,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Friends in Recovery has evolved from the beginning of how it was started to where it is today. And that evolution process is all based on what's best for the newcomer.
Yes.
What's best for the
100%.
newcomer. And the group has run itself, and nobody's coming in and telling us that we have to do it any differently,
No.
because
Exactly.
that spirit, that fate came through our group conscience meeting.
Yeah. And some people may not agree some of the things that are said either
No.
in the Friends and Recovery communities or in AA, but it's a group decision. And I think you said earlier, the minority has a decision in what is going on here. I think that's very
Huge voice.
powerful too, because like if you have a good kind of idea and everybody else is following, so you have all the followers over here and us three over here saying this is a good choice, we're the minority group, that leader, that person who can see that elderly statement might say, hey, that minority group, they have a really good idea. I know you guys are saying this, and I know you guys are believing in it, and it's probably might be true, but why don't we listen to what this little group has to say and see where we can apply this? And boom, I always say everything big starts small, right? And
Right.
and that's how this stuff comes true. But we have to have an open mind. And all this stuff, we always have to have an open mind. And especially because you said tradition 2, you stated earlier, tradition 2 and step 2 go hand in hand. And what do we have to have in step 2? An open mind, right?
right?
Mhm.
And we're succeeding ultimately with tradition. We're succeeding as a group, not just as an individual. Like step 2, we succeed as an individual. We're
Yes.
succeeding as a group
Yes.
in what's best to support our recovery community.
Mhm.
It's all about supporting the recovery community and doing what's best for them, right?
Mhm.
And putting the group before ourselves. Putting the
Yes.
group before ourselves, which is hard
exactly.
for some of us to
Yes.
do. And you mentioned that minority, right? So after a group, as a group conscience, it says how they run. They make a decision. The minority has the voice after the decision is made, and then the group conscience opens again and sees if that minority voice should have been heard, or if that idea was better or whatever, and how can we
Yes.
change again, and we can vote again. Right?
Exactly.
It's
But
all
that
a
word conscious is
magical.
so important too, because if you think about it, conscious with what feels right, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like what's
yeah.
inside. So, as we get better, our conscience gets better and solutions become more apparent in the group, right?
Right.
Like what's going to be best for the group. It becomes more apparent.
Exactly.
But sometimes when we're not okay with our higher power and following guidance from that, sometimes that is hard for us in
Mhm.
this tradition. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Um,
guys,
Right.
on page 133, the third paragraph down, and it says, I'll just kind of read it real quick. The founder and his friends channel spirituality to a newcomer, hire halls, make hospital agreements. Um, the wives brew coffee. There's a lot of work to put in a meeting together. And some people could say, hey, that's my meeting. I did all that. I got the hospital to get us in here. I found the chairs. I know where all this stuff is. Guys, this is not an program at all.
Not at
This
all.
is a group. This is a we program. And the minute you start doing this, and the minute you think it's your program, the minute you think it's your meeting, that's where this all goes wrong. That's why this tradition is here. That's why
Right.
it is so important that we follow this tradition as a group. Is there somebody going to do a lot more in the group? Of course there is, because they're that go-getter. They're that person that makes things happen. They might have
Mhm.
more time than us. But they cannot become that bleeding deacon and say, this is mine, mine, mine. And again, Skylar, you said it perfectly. The meeting dies if that happens, and
Mhm.
it just doesn't
Well,
exist.
and you must strive to although that spirituality is the primary component of the second tradition, you have to strive to understand that the concept of the group conscience, what's best for the group, right?
Yes.
And everybody has fair ideas, whether you're a newcomer or an old timer. But newcomers have different ways of looking at things, and old timers may sometimes lose touch of the newcomer's perspective.
Yes.
And that it's just, you have to maintain that sense of humility, right? You have to maintain that sense of and God will speak through you as everybody else does, right?
Yeah.
As they do through everybody else within your recovery community. And that's what the tradition 2 is about.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
Group conscience is reflects a collective awareness of understanding and surrender to spiritual principles.
Mhm.
So if you think about it, like the spiritual principles in this are surrender. We got to surrender to a higher power,
Yeah.
surrender to the group and our own beliefs sometimes, and faith that we're, you know what I mean? Humility, like you
Mhm.
said,
Skylar,
open-mindedness.
key what you just said, surrender to the group, right?
Mhm.
How key is that in this situation? Because it is not your group. It is not my
Exactly.
group. It's not our group. It's the group, what's
Yes.
best for the
Yeah.
group. And that's this step is just, this tradition is, it says, the group conscious, the group conscious, the group, everything's the group. It's not me or yours or Bob's meeting. It is the group.
And your integrity of your group.
Yeah. And you said it perfectly. Sorry. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, but so the integrity is also part, and another one, like how Stacy making the links, like that, and the background stuff, people making the
Yes.
coffee that we didn't even know about that made the
Yeah,
coffee, or
yeah.
they bought the cups at the dollar store the week before.
Yeah.
There's a
Yeah.
little stuff we don't know.
The
that
little
goes
stuff.
into it.
Yeah.
And when I was doing research for tradition 2, I started writing things down, and I thought, okay, what tradition 2 does for me is it helps me to stay on my proper path of recovery. And it does that by combining my initiative with humility.
Mhm.
I'm a big one for that. I have to stay humble, because my ego and my spiritual ego can get in the way. So combining initiative with humility, And responsibility with
Mm.
thankfulness. Right. So I may take on additional responsibility, but I also has to be thankful of where the group came from, where this all started.
And then we're able
If-
to take those commitments.
Yeah,
And I wouldn't be sober without it.
exactly.
I
Okay,
wouldn't
it's
be
people
sober
thing.
without it. So I have
Just-
to be thankful.
This
And when I
falls
do
under
that-
humility. You
Yeah.
everything you're being humbled
Open-mindedness.
by this all. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Patience. I have to
Trust.
pray for patience, open-mindedness. I have to pray for willingness to listen. And I put
Ooh.
listen in all capital letters. I need to listen, and I need to set my ego aside for the group purpose.
Yes.
Right. And that's that's just my overall take on
And that's not
tradition
easy.
too.
That's not easy to do, to set our egos aside. I don't care
No.
how deep you're into your recovery. I don't care how strong. Obviously, we all want to be heard. We want our ideas to be the best ideas. And
Mhm.
and sometimes it's like, but the person that could say, okay, I think my idea is the best, but if you have a better idea, or if this idea is where the group is going, that is a person who's really working a program, because I'm not making it, I'm not out there making a hissy fit, crying, saying this is bullshit, talking behind Sally's back, behind Bobby's back,
Right.
and just saying that this is how it's going to be, and it's okay. I don't agree with it, but it's okay, and it's going to be for the best of the group. And what's best for the group is best for me, because then I'm staying sober. so.
Right. And what's best for the group is what's most best for the newcomer.
Exactly.
right?
Yes. There you
That
go.
they're getting a clear message about what our group is about, what we provide, right?
Mhm.
With a clear cut message, right? What meetings we have, it doesn't matter what
Mhm.
coffee, what
Yeah.
coins, whatever it is,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
What celebrations we do, right? Making sure that they have a clear message of what our group is about. And our primary purpose is to help the suffering addict.
Exactly.
Funny,
Help the suffering addict. And once we leave that group, right? Once we've made decisions, we all leave together. Our egos are all set
We're
aside.
done. Yeah.
We're
yeah.
delivering one
Yeah.
message. And in a month or two or whatever we've decided to have our next meeting, then we
And we
can
redo
vote
it
to
again.
change. We
Yeah.
got another
Visit.
voice, right?
Yep.
We
So
got another voice.
It's
And
so
God
funny.
may come through that message through that month and say, oh, maybe I was wrong.
And
Maybe
it'll
they
help.
were right.
Exactly. That happens
Right.
a lot.
I
I think
wanna-
that's
I
the
wanna-
reason we have it once a month. I swear, because it gives us time to reflect on
Yes.
Yes.
trying to make a decision.
Yeah.
So in the basic text of NA, it's tradition to it. It states tradition to, and the first thing it says in Narcotics Anonymous, we are concerned with protecting ourselves from ourselves. Our second tradition is an example of this. By nature, we are strong-willed, self-centered people who are thrust together in NA.
Right.
We are mismanagers, and not one of us is capable of consistently making good decisions. I'm like,
Love
that
that.
sums it up.
Love that.
Right.
Not-
A bunch
Right?
of character defects trying to get together
I
to
can't
fix
make a
some
decision
character
every day.
defects.
I need you guys. When I sound like you need
Yes,
to talk me off the ledge.
That's a great message. I need
Yeah.
you guys.
yeah.
This is something we cannot do alone. And
No.
that's what this tradition is about. We
That's why the group is
cannot
so
do
big.
this. Yes.
We don't have anything if we don't have each other and the group. I'm
Exactly,
getting goosebumps because
exactly.
that's we're the biggest. That's the biggest vehicle. We're all in that car together.
Oh yeah.
right.
Yeah.
You know.
So I'm looking at this grapevine, AA grapevine tradition checklist. Why can't I talk today? Anyway, okay. It says the first question is this: do I criticize or do I trust and support my group officers? AA committees and office workers, new timers and old timers. So that the question is, do I criticize or do I trust and support?
It depends on if I'm in the meeting or if I'm alone with another.
First
Really
thought or
just
second
depends where I'm
thought.
at.
First thought or second thought.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
My first thought, I'm probably judging what
What-
the hell they said.
Yeah, it's like,
Second
what
one,
the
I'm
fuck are they thinking?
silent.
Really, that's gonna work? My way is so much better.
So much better.
Second
right?
thought is maybe we should work on this together.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah. All right, I agree with you.
Okay. The second one is about integrity. It says, am I absolutely trustworthy, even in secret, with
Mm.
AA 12th step jobs or any other AA responsibilities? So am I absolutely trustworthy, even in secret? So again, this is about integrity. And I never thought about that when I was
Mm.
reading this checklist. I didn't think, oh, this
Yeah.
tradition is also about
Well,
integrity.
because
and
you're
it
dealing
is.
with
Yeah.
money, you're dealing with, where people
Anything.
are people
Secrets.
think how people are gonna take information in,
Paying the
all
rent.
that stuff.
Yes.
Paying rent. You're dealing with a lot of different aspects of not just money aspects. You're dealing with human lives. When they walk into that room, what was kind of put together by the group is
How you
gonna
carrying that
be
message?
it's gonna be carried out to those people. Carried the message
Absolutely.
out to the people. So
Yeah,
you got to be
exactly.
careful. You can't just rest on one laurel and that is it. You can't.
Right.
You have to make
Right.
sure it's good for the group. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
And
do I
sometimes we
look
don't always know
for-
what that is, and that's why we just pray and we're guided by it, and we work together. And
Yep,
Exactly.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Again, why we can't do this alone,
Exactly.
right? Not that's what, again, relying on our higher power too, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Do I look for credit in my AA jobs, or
Fuck
do I
yeah.
look for
Oh,
do
no,
I
I'm
look
sorry.
for praise in my AA ideas?
Was
Oh my
I
God,
thinking
I
out
have
loud
such-
again?
Right.
If the drugs and
Oh my
alcohol
God.
won't kill us, our pride and ego will.
Yeah. I have
Sorry.
such a great idea. Oh my God. Wait till you hear it.
Listen to me. I got everything. I
Listen
know
to
everything. I
me.
know everything.
I know
I'm
everything.
Beyonce. I know everything.
You should buy me gifts. I like lots of coins. Oh my gosh. Okay, so that was another one. So looking for credit, right? And some people do that. Some people are looking for, and it's a good thing to ask yourself, sit back and say, well, do I look for praise? Do I look for credit? And again, these are just questions from the AA grapevine that you ask yourself about the tradition, right? And something maybe even to journal about, right? The fourth one, and there are 6. Do I often feel the need to save face in group discussions?
Well, yeah.
Or
Oh, sorry. Thinking out loud again. Was my microphone on again?
or can I yield in good spirit to the group conscience and work along with it?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, that one. I like the second part.
I do
Yeah.
too.
And again, like, do I need to save face in group discussions, or can I just yield to the group, the good spirit to the group and the group conscience and work along with it, right?
Mhm.
I do, right? Like I firmly believe, even in situations at home, because I try to use these same principles at home, is that once we have made a decision as a family, we're walking out together as a family,
Mhm.
right? And it's not about saving face. It's not about whatever. It's about taking ownership. It's about making sure that we're not doing this alone. Nobody has to feel left behind.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And I want to be in work along with the group conscience and
It's
move
not
forward
my
as a
way or the
group.
highway. It has
No,
to
and
be,
I'm not going to come out and
Yeah.
sabotage it.
Yeah.
I do
Yeah.
not want to come
Yeah.
out and sabotage the rest of the
Exactly.
group.
Yeah. And that's
There's-
perfect. I
that-
love that. I love that because
Sabotage.
what'll happen is, and let's take like you said, the family thing, and just to make it easy, the family most of the family wants to go to Disney World, the other part wants to go to Six Flags, and everybody, okay, we're going to Disney World. Well, I'm going to be an asshole and not have fun. I'm going to sit on the fucking bench and not do anything. I'm
Right.
not going to eat dinner. I'm not going to do this. Maybe I'll stay at the hotel room because I didn't want to be in Disney World, right?
Sit in my
come on.
pity pot,
Exactly.
my
exactly.
giant pity
yeah.
pot.
yeah.
Or I'm going to sabotage the rest of the group. I'm going to come back. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to come out and
Yeah.
have those water cooler conversations. Is that what
Mhm.
they call it?
Yeah,
when you
yeah.
go out to work, right? Oh my God, did you hear what happened in the meeting?
Yeah.
I just don't like it. You know what we
Yeah.
should do? We should band together and then we should go and tell everybody else.
See, I
that-
struggle with the opposite. I struggle with being able to speak up sometimes in group conscience. 'Cause
Yes.
yes. My voice, I'll say it to someone else and have them speak it up because I'm always scared. Like recognition, I like it, I do, but there's also a level of I'm scared of it in a weird
Yeah.
way. So to speak up sometimes it's hard, to be honest, and like say like I don't know if I agree with that. Like that feels
Yeah.
weird. I don't know if we're carrying the message. Like that's
Right.
a hard thing to speak up in front of a group of people.
Mhm.
It is really
right?
hard.
But it's so important to do because
It
I
is.
struggled with that this week. I did.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
oh man,
you know,
at home group one time, me and Miss Karen, woo, we got into it. And me and this lady are the bestest of friends now. But we had to really get into it, and she had to
Yeah.
school me because I
Yeah.
thought I knew it all.
yeah.
You know, talk to your sponsor. I was so mad she said that too. Go talk to you know. Oh,
Fuck
you know when
you,
someone
talk to
says
my
that to you, you're like,
sponsor.
bitch,
I don't need to fucking talk to my sponsor. You need to, bitch.
who are you?
Oh,
You
maybe
talk
I
to my
do need to talk to
sponsor.
my
She's already
sponsor.
on my
4'8"
side.
too.
Yeah,
She's,
you
like,
don't even
so
know my
tiny.
sponsor. My sponsor would be agreeing with me.
My sponsor would kick your sponsor's ass.
That's right, exactly.
And all of a sudden we're back in the playground again, right? It's like
Exactly.
right,
Oh,
little
yeah,
kids,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
That's
Inner child
exactly
comes
right.
out.
That's
Yep.
exactly right. So that's a great question. Okay. Now, although I've been sober for a few years, Am I still willing to serve my turn with AA chores, which we've already talked about,
Mhm.
right? It doesn't matter our length of sobriety.
Mm-mm.
That's why I put in my thing. I have to relish in the joys of living my 24-hour program.
Yes.
My 24-hour program, right? I've been sober for 24 hours. And so I am no better, no longer length of my sobriety. I still get to pick up cigarette butts out in the parking lot.
Of course. Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
You
I
don't
get to, by
graduate
the
in
way.
this program. You don't graduate to a better job in AA.
No,
Seriously, you
no.
don't. It doesn't
don't.
fucking
You
happen.
can't get your
You know?
PhD.
Until you go to
Yeah.
Al-Anon. Until you know
yeah, yeah.
Al-Anon is the graduate program.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Yeah. So
Sorry,
when
Al-Anon people.
NAs and our NA and AA people, we graduate and go. That's our graduate degree.
That's
if we
right.
join
Yes,
Al-Anon.
exactly, exactly.
So
you got more questions in there?
one more.
Okay, good.
Do I complain about decisions that my group makes, even though I do not attend the business meetings where the decisions are made?
Mm.
Mm.
That's a big
Responsibilities.
one.
Showing
That's
up,
a big one.
showing up and
You know?
suiting up, guys. Do
Right.
the work.
It's like,
Get there.
you know, complaining about
Be
the
heard.
president, but you didn't vote for the president.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
You didn't
Yep,
even show up to
exactly.
vote.
Yeah.
So
It's
yeah,
kinda-
I mean, that's those. I think they're all good questions. I love this little tradition checklist. I think
Yeah,
they're
that's
great
great.
questions for just
Yeah.
things in life.
Yeah.
They can pertain to my work. They can complain. They complain. They can complain to my work. They can pertain to work. They can pertain to my home life. They can pertain to my religious life, my recovery life, my everyday life.
And
I
that
don't
was
know, I
found
think
in the
they're really good.
Grapevine. Just to, so if the listeners want to,
AAgrapevine.org.
the checklist.
Tradition checklist.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll be reading from that every month on each tradition. Guys, I want to shift gears here a little bit to the last part of the tradition, which is a little history lesson. I think it's pretty cool because it
About Bill W.
yeah. And it's
Yeah.
about 3 years into AA. So that would be what, 1938, give or take. Bill was doing a 12th step in a hospital. And the proprietor, Charlie, his name was, asked Bill to come to his office and said, Bill, you do such a great job. You're amazing at this, you know, helping these addicts and alcoholics. And the hospital made so much money throughout all these years. Why don't you come work for the hospital and bring this program into the hospital? We can make it basically a program here at the hospital, and you can get paid for it. You can get paid very, very well for it, because and Charlie was looking at it in a different way than Bill was looking at it. Well, than Lois was looking at it, obviously, but Charlie, you know, Charlie wanted Bill to succeed. Charlie seen these addicts and alcoholics who were coming into the hospital, getting their lives cleaned up because of Bill and some of the medical procedures. And then they would go out and be successful in their jobs, be more successful what they were, making all kinds of money. And Bill still had debt. He still owed Wall Street creditors all kinds of money. And excuse me. And you know, Bill thought about it. Bill was actually on the train on the way home, and he called. He said he had a flash of divine guidance on a subway going back. I think he was going back to Brooklyn. I think it was, and he said that going back to Brooklyn. And this is all in the second
12.
tradition. Yeah, 12 and 12. And he said that it came from the Bible. A voice kept saying to me, the labor is worth his hire, right? Then he gets home to the wife, Lois,
Yeah.
right?
And
He
the
gets
group,
home to
and the
Lois.
group.
And the
There were
group.
people staying in his house.
Yep. Lois was cooking, and and I understand, you know, Lois was working all day in the department store and then coming home and cooking for all the drunks. Some would get better, some wouldn't, and so on and so
They
forth.
were
And
his ass broke, by the way.
oh yeah, they were.
He was broke. They're
Yeah.
actually living up. If I don't know if you know this, Bill and Lois at the time were actually living above the Alano meeting
Oh,
house.
really?
Yeah. So
Yeah, they
there
had
was
an
the
apartment
Alano
'cause
meeting house.
Yeah,
They were
had an
living above
apartment.
it,
Yeah,
and she was working for fucking pennies.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
in a
It's
department
crazy.
store,
Yeah, it's
and
crazy.
they had nothing.
Yeah. So Bill talked to Lois, and Lois didn't have the reaction that Bill thought she would, right?
Right.
Thank God, right? Thank God. I mean, so anyways, to kind of sum it all up, Lois said this is not what we need. Bill kind of seen it that way and declined the job. But can you imagine if Bill took the job and took AA professionally, and where this program would be today? Right? I
Yeah.
mean, how crazy would that be? I mean, think about it. Like we wouldn't be where we're at today. So thank God that and then that's, these traditions got put in place for those reasons. So we can't make money off of this. I mean, obviously there's treatment centers, there's outpatient, there's all kinds of stuff to enhance our recovery. No doubt about it. But AA, I think AA would be like AA Enterprises, right? I mean, come on,
Right,
I mean, think
right.
about it. you know?
AA Enterprises.
Yeah, exactly.
But how
So
cool is it though? We got 12
So,
steps
but-
to get better and 12 traditions to get better in the world. Like
Yeah.
better with
Right.
me and better in the world. Like
Yeah.
how cool is that?
exactly.
I'm so grateful.
So that story is that Bill realized upon hearing his, he thought he had heard his prayers, and we hear this too. This is about our spiritual ego, right?
Mhm.
This whole story is about spiritual ego. He thought he had heard the word of God when he was on that train or on that bus, right? But really, what happened is he came back to Lois. Lois didn't have the same reaction. She said, "You better talk to the group," right? He goes down to the group and starts talking to the group. They're like, "Are you fucking kidding me? Like, you want this to go, take this hospital organization into AA? It just wouldn't be the same outlook, right?" And so they had a discussion about it. He talked but he was ended up being led, even though Bill was technically in charge, because remember, he started this whole thing.
Mhm.
He was technically in charge, but he was led by the feelings of the group, right?
Mhm.
And it was through his feelings of the group, his friends, and his perception. That's when the perception of God was revealed, right?
Mhm.
The perception of God was that, second tradition is less about God and more about the willingness to allow the group conduct. And so Bill was willing, even though he was piss ass broke and had a financial opportunity,
Mhm.
he was willing to let the group talk and make
Yep.
a decision about what was best for the
Exactly.
group.
And he told them sometimes the good is the enemy of the best, right? I mean, think about it. That's kind of how they kind of summed it up with him, that they said the good is the enemy of the best. Of course, he was doing good for what he wanted to do, but the best would have not, the good, would we settle for mediocrity, right? I mean, think about it. We would have just been a good program. Probably would have happened, but it would have happened to only the people with money. It would have only the people with a good job. AA,
Lights.
yeah, AA is AA and NA is we have some kids
Keep
entering
coming
it.
back.
Yeah, keep coming back, Tiff.
Keep coming back. That's all I say when I want.
I'm trying to hold it all together here. I'm trying to stay like in the tradition too, why Tiff is being mom over there.
Reggie.
I'm trying to hold my arm up because he's running in with no pants on. I
Oh my God.
Ah,
But that was the
Um,
best part about being young, is not having to wear pants. But anyhow,
I know, right?
Oh, I'm not wearing pants now. Am I supposed to have pants on? Oh, sorry.
I'm not wearing pants.
Nobody ever
You
see
can't
that.
see.
There you go. You have a nice flannel on though.
Yeah, you
Right?
can't see me.
But
Anyway, sorry.
No, that's right. So the good is the enemy of the best, and
Yeah.
the best being that every walk of life, anybody who earns money or doesn't earn money. Did you guys know this, that the basket is passed around to either take $1 or leave $1? Did you know
Yeah.
that? It's for people who didn't have money. That's so people from all walks of life can come to this meeting. And if you're hungry, you were able to take $1 out and go buy yourself some food. Now, obviously,
I
that's
never knew that.
Yeah, that's exactly what the basket was for. Yeah. So if you need parking money and you're at an AA meeting, grab a couple of those quarters, guys, and have at it. Because fuck those tickets, they're expensive.
Well, that's
A guy at a
what-
meeting made an
we'll get
amends
into
one
that
time.
when we talk about the seventh tradition.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, that's how the seventh tradition started, is passing
Yeah.
the basket, and you take $1 and eat if you need $1, or give more if you can.
Yeah.
Right.
At a meeting
Exactly.
one time, this guy made amends for running out with the basket.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes. There's
So I
lots of
always
cool
assumed
stories.
because of that. That was when I
I
was new
can't
in the
w-
rooms.
I
That's
can't
July,
wait to get
though.
to the seventh tradition.
That's
in
July. Yeah.
That's my sober month too. I would have
There
been
you
the one
go.
running out with the basket, by the way.
Right to the dope man. Hey, look what I got. You take the basket. and you
One
eat it.
bag. That's what you got enough for.
Yeah,
One
I know,
bag.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's the
guys.
really big meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, guys, I think we did a good job with tradition too. I think we covered a lot. Comment below, everybody. Let us know what your thoughts are on tradition too. And kind of, or email us at helpingfriendsrecoverypodcast.com, and let us know what your thoughts are on it. Before we go, guys, I do want to talk about the SP.
Sober pod.
Sober pod, guys.
The
Carl
disease?
and
The
Chelsea.
disease sober pod.
Yeah. What is a sober? Do you ever think of like friends in recovery? We're like friends in recovery, but what's a fucking sober pod? Carl, can you tell us what a sober pod is? Like, is it like
The disease.
it's a disease? I think
A
it's
pod
cool.
that's sober.
I love
It's sober pod 19, like COVID-19.
There you
Sober
go.
pod 19.
Exactly. But no, guys, I know we joke about them and we laugh, but let me tell you, I know when I presented what we're doing today to the ladies here about doing the steps, every month, I know that they did it, and I know it was a lot of hard work, and I just wanted to honor them, because by doing this is really honoring them, because it is a lot of commitment, it is a lot of work, it is a lot of every week, guys. This is every week we have to do this, and SoberPod did it first. They laid it. I don't know if they did it first, but since I've been listening, they did it, and they really laid the kind of the legwork foundation down. But if you go back to their 2019 year, you can hear every episode and what they're doing over there. I know we say a lot about SoberPod, but Carl is very near and dear and close to Friends in Recovery. He's a great guy, really good recovery. He's just a good guy. So go listen to them over there. And Chelsea, I'm getting to know her more and more as they talk on the show over there, and she has some amazing recovery too. So turn your dial to the left. Don't go to the left. Just turn. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, just turn it.
Just turn
Maybe
it to the
go to
left.
the right.
Maybe turn it to the right. If you turn it to the right, you get some of us on this channel.
Yeah. Anyway, I want to be a guest on SoberPod. I'd love to.
I know.
So
I've been a
I'm
guest
putting that-
several
I'm putting
times.
that challenge out there, Carl, for you to make me an offer to be a guest on
There
SoberPod.
you go. Here you go, guys. So anyways,
I accept Yeti mugs. I accept Bill and Bob highly sought after coins.
Hey,
I-
I don't think SoberPod gives anything away, guys. Do you think I'm giving away Genesis House t-shirts? And
I will
all
say
kinds
this.
of
Can I
stuff.
give a plug for SoberPod?
Sure.
I am going to join their $2, a month
Oh yeah.
thing,
Yeah.
because on the Big Book study, we're talking about chapter 4 or step 4.
Yeah.
What are those things? Those
One of the
steps?
things before.
Something.
Yeah, those things.
We've been talking way
Anyway,
too long, guys.
Carl, last time that he was on, told us that he had all those sheets that he had pulled up for
Oh,
doing
yeah.
different ways of doing step 4
Yeah.
and all these things. Like, there's a lot of cool stuff out there. I checked out their website and stuff, and so I'm going to join the SoberPod group.
Cool.
Because they do have all those things out there. So I want to give him a plug for that. That Carl's
Good.
done a lot of research, and he did all this research back in 2019 when he was doing the steps, and from then to today, and he's put all that information out there in a library, and I think that's pretty cool. So
It is.
SoberPod, check it out.
That's it.
That's all I'm gonna say good about SoberPod. It
That's
is
it.
a disease. Stay away.
No, don't stay away. So that this was either a commercial or we were starting the new SoberPod show. This is SoberPod, right?
Yeah, right. Never mind. Join Friends in Recovery. Comment
That's
below.
right.
We'll see you
That's
next
right.
time.
Exactly, guys. Exactly. So, ladies, thank you for a great show. I think, again, like I said, I think we covered a pretty big amount of the tradition and of step tradition 2. We can't wait to do tradition 3. Really? I guess. I don't know.
That's a good one.
I
We
know,
got
I
never
know.
desire to stop.
Yeah,
That's a good one.
it's a good one.
Stay
Don't
sober.
worry, Ed.
Okay.
Don't say sober. Never mind. Don't say
Don't
cut
say
that out,
stay
Carl.
sober yet.
we're forcing Ed out of his comfort zone, and
We
I like
are.
it.
We are.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I like it. We're
Yeah.
growing as a group.
We are. Thank you,
Love it.
ladies. Stay sober, everybody.
This concludes this episode of Friends in Recovery, the Addiction Recovery Podcast. Follow us on Facebook for past shows and updates, and enjoy free access to twice daily support meetings. Friends in Recovery, the Addiction Recovery Podcast, is available on Facebook, Podbean, iTunes, and YouTube 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.